everyone, welcome to Pocket Universe. My name is Darren Hann. On today's show, we have John Michael Bennett, Gamers vs. MS, Steve Lake, Whostorian podcaster, and Joe Gatto with IPMS. We'll be right back after this. Hi, and I'd like to welcome to the show John Michael Bennett with Gamers vs. MS. Welcome to the show, John.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited about your new show.
Thank you, sir. Glad to have you here. John, tell us all about Gamers vs. MS, where it started, how long ago, and how you're involved with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Gamers vs. MS for me is definitely like my passion project. It kind of brought together all my loves into one. So you said, where it started. So here locally, I co-founded and was the president of Sandbox Gaming for 7 years. I left about a little over 3 years ago. But I worked for the MS Society of Canada part-time. I started working there about 2016, 2017.
Okay.
But I actually make about a third to half of my living as a video game streamer. So I said, okay, well, how do I take my two jobs and just bring them together? Because I love this. I love the idea that video games are raising hundreds of millions of dollars for charity worldwide.
Right.
And I wanted to see more of that for MS. So we created Gamers vs. MS in April of 2018. And since then we've raised about $170,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. And one of the funniest lines that I like saying to people is that 50,000 of that is one of the streamers that we got involved from Ontario. And she is an anime cat girl. And if that sentence makes no sense to you, it doesn't make sense to me. But it's raised $50,000 for a good cause.
That's good. So when you say did you start it here in Newfoundland, or was it started like right across Canada at the same time? How did that come to play? Yeah,
so that's a good question. It had never been existing beforehand. I created it with a bunch of my friends, and essentially when we first came up with the concept, the idea was for a week-long relay of different video game streamers from across Canada. So what game streamers are, because I know, not everyone is, the millennial or Gen Z,
That's
say
right.
Streaming. My grandmother says streamlining. That's what
streamlining?
She thinks.
Okay.
She always asks me how my streamlining is going.
God love Nan.
Which is like, my logistics are going great.
Yep.
So what streaming is for a lot of people is that you can go on usually to twitch.tv or YouTube, and at the time you can watch the game being played, a camera of the streamer at the same time, and you can also interact with them in the chat box. So they're real, in the moment kind of interaction, and this is blowing up worldwide. So what we wanted to do was bring Canadian streamers together, because MS, multiple sclerosis, has some of the highest rates in the world we do in Canada.
Yes.
So, and some people call it Canada's disease. So we came up with the concept of Canadian gamers versus Canada's disease. So the main marquee event is twice a year. It's a week long, and it's usually 20 to 25 different streamers filling a full week of entertainment, all at gamersvsms.ca. So it goes into the overnight. It doesn't stop for that amount of time. But we also have a format called the one-ups, which is that people can stream for MS at any point in time. They just go to our website, they register, they send us an email, and we get them involved.
I'm going to back up a little bit now for people like Grandma and the grandpas out there, and us older folks back there. So just touch again on the platforms that they would watch you on. You mentioned YouTube. YouTube is pretty well known. Yeah. So when you're on that, are you live?
Yeah, so you're usually live in the moment. We use Twitch by chance, but it's much like YouTube, but it's usually a lot more for live streaming than it is for videos. Okay. Of course, YouTube has its own streaming service too, but Twitch is kind of the royalty, the king, the queen of the streaming world. You just go to twitch.tv, you pick the channel that you want to pick. There can be thousands live at any given point. You click on your favorite one, or maybe a new one. You want to get to know somebody. And then when you do, you know, you just click it, you watch it. Like I said, you can usually see the game being played, the camera, the chat, so you can be there in the moment and just really, it's a lot more interactive than live TV. Obviously with live TV, you can't type in and talk to the chat.
Right, yeah.
Right now, pretend right now you and I were on Twitch.
Right.
We'd look down at the screen and there'd be messages and we'd go, oh, that's a good point, Newfoundlander 75. We are having a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. So it's almost like looking at your TV guide.
Yeah.
If you look at what streamer you want to watch or participate with, and you click on that one and you can watch what they're doing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll even list what game they're playing, and it'll have a title of the stream. So yeah, much like a TV guide, when you go onto the website, there's a directory, which, yeah, that's a great analogy.
Okay, so it's very easy to, so you just go to the website, pick what channel you want.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Easy way to describe it.
Yeah.
So what kind of games do you play personally, like to help out with this? Are you into like any certain type?
Yeah, I'm largely a Nintendo variety streamer. So, you know, when you think of your Mario, your Zelda, your Pokemon, I do that. But again, you'll find with Gamers vs. MS that there is a wide variety. I mentioned that anime cat girl earlier.
Yep, yes.
So what hers is that she has her face cam hooked up to a virtual reality system, essentially. More or less, that's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah.
So no one sees her face, but the anime character on screen that she has created in 3D modeling responds to her facial movements.
Oh, wow.
So it's like watching a real live anime show or something.
Yeah.
And that's kind of her shtick. She might be drawing or she might be playing some other sort of game.
Right.
You know, and across Canada you see a bunch of different variety of streamers come up with different shticks just like that one.
Just like that. So you actually don't get to see the lady's face, you see her character.
Yeah, just her character.
That's cool.
Yeah. So her character, her name is Rose, Rose Doodle. But yeah, and for Gamers vs. MS, you know, it was founded by a bunch of people from Newfoundland and Labrador. There's about 4 of us who were in at the start and 8 of us who organize it. But including community members and streamers, I mean, this is a thing that probably has hundreds of volunteers now across the country.
To become a volunteer, is there a minimum age or how hard is to get involved with it?
Yeah, so I mean, to stream with us, all you have to do is have a twitch.tv account. I believe you have to be at least 13 to be on Twitch.
13, okay.
So
good point, yeah.
Kids at home, if you're younger than 13, get off Twitch.
Right from John.
Yeah. Unless, of course, you donate a lot of money to MS, in which case you can be on underage. I give you permission.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Good.
Yeah.
So, like I say, there's minimum age roughly about 13.
Yeah.
What does somebody need at home to become an online gamer?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. Because years ago, I mean, you even think now producing this show and all that sort of stuff, it's a lot easier to do portably than it was maybe 30, 40 years ago. You know, you didn't have to lug in, I imagine, you know, buildings and buildings worth of equipment.
Right.
For personal recording, it's become just as easy now. If you want to start off and you want to be low key, a lot of people do. You can get a cheap $50 microphone.
Yep.
$50 webcam, plug it into your computer, and then you have to learn a little about software such as OBS or XSplit or whatever one that you prefer. And you can kind of just jump in from there. It's as long as you have a computer that can do it. A lot of people think they need thousands and thousands of dollars of equipment.
Sure.
You don't. Maybe when you get into it and you decide, oh, this is for me.
Yep.
You know, invest that thousands. But I see a lot of people, they'll do that initially and then they lose the interest. So my thing is start small.
Yep.
Go from there.
Go from there. So, so we covered the audience, sort of. So if somebody gets on Twitch, they like what you guys are doing, they want to donate to you, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, so during the stream, they just, usually there's links that'll appear in the chat box or they'll have it under their stream. It's usually a donate. But if they want, they can go directly to gamersvsms.ca. There's a donate button there.
Okay.
They just click donate, and then, you know, if it's during the marquee event, the relay, then it goes to the relay total. And that's one of the cool things about this model is that the donation, as soon as you do the donation, will show up live on the stream at the moment. So it'll show up in a corner, and the streamer will thank them in real time. They'll say, thank you, Newfoundlander 75, for this. You know, thank you for helping those with MS.
Well, John, on behalf of everybody, thank you for what you do for MS.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming in today. John Michael Bennett with Gamers vs. MS. We'll be right back after this. Thank you, John, for coming on the show today, talking about your great work with Gamers vs. MS and all the money you raised. That's excellent. Good job, sir. I was just here looking at this. This reminds me of the TARDIS. You know, speaking of the TARDIS, up next we've got Steve Lake, Doctor Who podcaster. So come right back. And I want to welcome to the show Steve Lake, podcaster and host of the Whostorian.
Hello, Darren.
Welcome to the show, sir.
Good to be here.
Steve, first of all, before we get into the Whostorian, tell us the basics of podcasting and what we have here in front of us today, in case somebody's not familiar at home with podcasting.
Okay, a podcast is basically somebody talking about something they like.
Okay.
It could broad range of topics. If you want to talk about something, talk about it. We're in the era of everything's digital, everything's accessible. Mm-hmm. So it would be what we would have done back in the 80s as pirate radio.
Okay.
A podcast is basically just broadcasting, but we do it to the internet. And there's people do interviews, there's people that do music podcasts, there's people that do writing podcasts. The universe is endless. If you have a microphone and a voice, you can talk.
Okay.
And now the outlet is there through the internet to just put your voice out there. And you may develop a following, people may like what they hear.
So speaking about that, we'll start off there. You make your podcast.
Yep.
Is it usually done live or pre-recorded?
Again, we can do either or.
Either or, okay.
Either or.
So you've got your podcast recorded.
Yep.
So I'm here in my house, I got my podcast on. What do I do with it from there? And where does it go?
Once you have it and it's recorded and you're happy with it and you've got your opening, your closing, if you want to put it on there, or if you just want to open and say, hi, welcome to whatever podcast, there's an infinite number of websites that host for free.
Okay.
There's Podbean, there's Libsyn, there's, I think, there's one that's just called Podcast, I think it's .de. If I'm not mistaken, it's been a while since I've looked at a few of those because I bought my own website, so I host it myself.
Okay.
I ended up of the mindset, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing.
Okay.
So, not to intimidate with what I brought with me, if you have a USB headset that can plug into your computer, you can record, you can go.
Right.
As you evolve your sound quality, as things go over time, I've been at this 10 years now.
Okay.
So my equipment has evolved as I've learned more and as I've gotten more into editing. And I have brought with me today one of my microphones. This is a Blue Yeti Pro. It can connect either USB or it can connect with what they call an XLR cable to this mixer.
Yep.
I can have up to 4 microphones.
Okay.
I've got 3. The mixer itself takes everything and plugs USB into my computer. So it just takes one clean audio source in, I edit that, and up it goes.
So you've got actually like a portable studio that you can bring places.
I built a portable podcasting studio.
Okay.
3 microphones, no waiting.
No waiting, okay.
As I like to say.
So you can just start off with a computer and a headset, or you can get right into it
or
like
you can dive right in.
And then once you've got it recorded, you upload it somewhere.
To anywhere that'll host it and play it back.
Now, are podcasts, when they're uploaded, are they accessible to anybody? Because I know I'm going to compare this now to like TV and movies. You got your PG, you got your R-rated, you got all kinds of stuff like that. Are there any ratings on podcasts?
Only if the person chooses to put it on it, or to let you know beforehand. It's the internet, everything is open. So anybody can say anything, anybody can do anything. My podcast, The Whostorian, is 100% PG.
Okay.
We keep it that way. I want it to appeal to the broadest audience possible. So we're not dropping any kind of colorful language every few seconds.
Right.
There's none involved at all.
But on these sites that you mentioned...
On these sites that you can go to, any number of them could have mature content. And the vast majority will say it in the description of the podcast.
Oh, it will? Okay.
Or when you hit play, there's usually a disclaimer at the beginning.
Oh, is it? Okay.
The following podcast may contain mature subject matter. Listener discretion is advised.
On the podcast sites, rating of like PG,
that's
R-rated stuff, is that done by the site itself?
No, that's done by the podcaster themselves.
Okay.
It's up to them. They'll, like my own podcast is completely PG.
Yeah.
We decided that from the outset. But there's usually a note in the podcast description or a disclaimer when you hit play.
Okay.
Like the following podcast contains mature subject matter. Listener discretion is advised. Viewer discretion.
Okay. Now, when you put something up on these sites, are there rules that you got to follow? Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is there anybody on the site that will just like review all the podcasts?
No,
or
they're just there to host a file.
Just host a file.
They're not there to police the content. They're just there to host a file.
Oh, okay.
So it's up to the podcaster to use their best judgment of what they want to put into the world.
Oh, okay.
It's more or less what they want to be known for.
Right.
10 years from now, do you want to be known as the guy who said the 7 dirty words you can't say on radio or television?
That's right.
Every single day.
Gotcha.
Or do you want to have something you're proud of?
Oh, okay, gotcha, understand.
So.
Now, speaking about something you're proud of.
Absolutely.
This little guy.
Bruce.
Bruce, okay.
His name is Bruce.
I know this is a TARDIS, I know this is a Dalek. You are a co-host of the Whostorian podcast.
Yes.
Tell us about the origins of the Whostorian in Newfoundland and how it evolved into what it is now.
My wonderful co-host, Shannon Lush, many moons ago, in the realm of print media, was part of a Doctor Who fan club, and they started a fan magazine called The Whostorian. Okay. That they would put out monthly.
Okay.
No, 4 times a year. Sorry, they started because it was The Whostorian Quarterly, and that went on for several years. Yep. And eventually, people moved on and moved away, and it kind of folded and shut down. Okay. Shannon was the last editor. Okay. So the two of us being Doctor Who fans, I was having a conversation with him one night, and he said, it's a shame we can't bring the Whostorian back. It's a shame we can't tell these stories over and over again. It's a shame there's no archive. We couldn't do it as a podcast. And I looked at him, I said, why not? Yeah. He said, what? I said, I've got 2 headsets. Yep. I've got a laptop. Let's do this. Sure. And it was as simple as that. We started recording 2 nights later.
2 guys talking about Doctor Who.
Yep. July 11th, 2001 we started. Okay. And this year will be 10 years. Oh, congratulations. The conversation is ongoing. Wow. We agree, we disagree, we review new Doctor Who episodes that are on TV. We review older episodes from the 1960s to give people a feel of what these episodes were about, to let them know what the past was, hence the Whostorian. Is it only 2 a year, or do you have guests on? We have had guests on. We've surprised ourselves with some of the guests we've had. The biggest feather in our cap in 10 years is we've been able to do an hour-long interview with Colin Baker. I know that name. Who played the 6th Doctor. Yes, yeah. And Fraser Hines, who was Jamie, the 2nd Doctor's companion. Yes, Jamie, So we've actually gotten a hold of these actors, and we've been able to sit with them for an hour of their time and do interviews, and it's just been fantastic. And I never thought in a million years this is where I would end up. Not with a podcast. No. So right now, you guys, you record your podcast. Yep. Put it up. Where can people find it? The main website, thewhostorian.ca. Whostorian.ca. Is where every episode can be found. Yeah. If you're searching on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play Music, wherever you can get a podcast feed. Yep. I made sure we're there. Oh, good. But okay. There is also the main website, thewhostorian.ca. So it's thewhostorian.ca. Yeah. Well, excellent. Steve, thank you for coming in today and talking to us about podcasting, the Whostorian. And again, it's that simple. Anybody can do it. If you've got a voice, find your voice, talk about your love of something, and go with it. Yep. Now, say the website once more. Thewhostorian.ca. Thewhostorian.ca. Thank you very much, Steve, and we'll be right back after this. If you have comments or guest ideas for Pocket Universe, please email darren.pocketuniverse@gmail.com. Phoenix Mars Lander 2002. That is some beautiful models. Speaking about models, up next, we got Joe Gatto from IPMS. And welcome back. I'd like to welcome to the show Joe Gatto with IPMS St. John's. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Darren. Thanks for the invite and thanks for the opportunity to talk about the club.
Okay, tell us about IPMS, where it started nationally, and how it ended up here in Newfoundland.
So IPMS stands for International Plastic Modeler Society. It's a group of people who got together in Great Britain in 1963. Wow. And they would have coined the international part of it. And it came to Canada in 1964. IPMS Canada is probably one of the largest parts of IPMS worldwide, and there are about 30 chapters in Canada, IPMS St. John's being one of them.
Yeah. How long ago did the one here in St. John start, and who started that one?
So IPMS St. John's started out as 6 guys in a basement back in 1978.
78, okay, yeah.
And it was 6 guys who used to do models, would get together and knew about IPMS and decided to form a club. Ironically, one of the guys was actually a professional modeler who worked for Memorial University and retired recently.
Yeah. Now, so you guys have like club meetings?
We do. So over the intervening 40 years, we got our charter in 1981. Yeah. And where it started with 6, we now have about 30 people.
30 people.
And we meet every month, the first Tuesday of each month for a couple of hours. And of course, COVID has now made us adapt to doing that virtually.
Okay, yeah.
In terms of people adopting the technology, we've got about 2/3 that come in. Either people don't have the technology, don't want to use the technology, or just waiting to get back face to face.
So before COVID, you'd have a meeting, what was it, once a month?
Once a month,
Once a month. And where does that usually take place?
We would have been gracious to Memorial University for the use of one of their lecture rooms at the Earth Sciences building.
Cool. And what would happen at a meeting?
Typically a meeting would cover, I guess, a meet and greet, everyone get together, haven't seen each other for a month, talk about what's on the go, and have a gab fest for a while, and then we would typically bring in progress or completed works into the meeting, and then everyone would have a gawk and ask questions. How did you do that? What's this? What's this used for? So it just sparks a lot of conversation.
So almost like you bring in your work at a meeting, even though it could be a work in progress, and guys or girls can see what you're doing and your progress on it, and might need some help or do some demos or something like that.
Exactly, because sometimes you might get stuck. And I'll say our club has many different talent levels. So bringing in pieces by new members to allow the rest of the club to critique is also it's a safe place. There's always encouragement, and people just learn new techniques and be able to increase their skills. That's what happened for me.
Oh, excellent. Nice. So is there a minimum age limit to join the club?
No, we've had junior members in the past, as young as 10, 12, 15. Their parents would come along. Right. They would participate in the hobby. We'd see more at our shows, but we did have quite a number of juniors for a long period of time.
Nice. Now you mentioned your shows. Tell us a little bit about that.
So as a club, we meet, I guess, once a month. However, the number of modelers in the club represents a very small portion of the number of modelers in the immediate community and the surrounding areas. So what we would do, and we've done this for 7 years running, but we've had 25 shows over the last 40 years, but for the last 7 years, it's an annual thing, and we would have an opportunity for the modeling public in general to bring in their stuff, or just come and see what the club has done.
So people can come in and see what it's about. And where would you usually have these shows to?
It started small, so we've been at 3 or 4 different venues, and the last couple of shows we've actually had at the Holiday Inn on Portugal Cove Road. Oh, nice. Up in the Grand Ballroom. So.
Now, your modelers, I guess everybody's got their own interest and own subjects and that. You brought on a couple of models here now. Do you have a favorite subject? You mostly military or sci-fi or cars? What's yours?
Me personally, it leans more towards military. I'm ex-military, so I try to recreate things that I've experienced or am more familiar with. So
first of all, thank you for your service. In case I don't say it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So armored vehicles or aircraft, but there's 7 or 8 different genres that all the club members would enjoy. So there's automobile modelers, there's sci-fi models, there's ships, there's modeling is basically recreating in 3D any object that you can. So
anything at all.
And you'll find them all.
Is it limited? So it's IPMS, of course, plastic. So it's limited to plastic kits?
It's limited to a portion of plastic, because today's model world, you can get add-ons that use resin or even metal. Yeah. And that would be like what, to like redo a cockpit maybe, or something? It's going to add detail to a specific kit that doesn't come with a certain feature or something, and a company will do something very one-off for that. Or if there's metal pieces, it'll really thin it out that plastic can't recreate. So it just makes it look a bit more realistic.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Now I've been noticing the models that you got there, like the color schemes on them are like amazing, and especially this little car, like it's like, how do you so? I take it this car is not a kit. It's a kit.
It is a kit.
But this is like a diorama. Am I right in saying that?
That's correct. So you put it on a base with something in context that would really add to the whole effect. So you're putting it in its element.
Yeah, but when you buy this kit, you're not buying an old beat up car like that. You're
buying a box that's got 50 to 1,000 parts. You're putting it together with glue, and then you're painting it, and then once it's painted, you have to add all these different effects.
So essentially, you're buying a new car. When you put it together, right? The point I'm getting at, it's you age that and weather it, make it look damaged like that. When you buy the kit, and you put her together, you got a new car put together. So you've got to take her from that and make her look like that.
Exactly, the evolution of a real vehicle.
And is this your work?
This belongs to our treasurer, Gary, who is a very, very accomplished automobile modeler.
How much time would that be, roughly? Or like time for one of these? Like,
we would, jokingly but true, say it probably takes 3 times the amount of time to finish as opposed to build.
Oh, is that right?
So.
Wow, that's amazing. If anybody's interested in joining your club, how can they get in contact with you guys?
So we're on Facebook.
Yeah.
We have IPMS St. John's on Facebook. Yeah. We have an email, ipms.sj@gmail.com.
Okay.
And we welcome anyone to come to our meetings or just check out the club. Yeah. We'd love to have a few more members, no matter what the skill level is, because if you've got something great to show we can learn, maybe we can bring something to someone who's joining that can up their skills as well.
Excellent. Well, guys, if you want to learn more about IPMS St. John's, contact Joe. Thank you for coming in, sir.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back after this. That was a great show today. Thanks to my guests, and a huge shout out to the Geo Center. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.
Program is brought to you by Rogers Anyplace TV. Enjoy exclusive content